Hopefully I keep you entertained from the post-lunch snooze. My name is Clint Beekler. I'm product marketing manager at FormStack. I am a Indiana Hoosier native, but I just moved out to the Bay 2 months ago. But I'm back, and the Midwest knew how to welcome me the way it always does with snow. So today we're going to be talking about competitive intelligence, and I've kind of titled this as kind of 101, kind of back to basics. Everyone here probably has some sort of competitive intelligence inside their company. I'm going to talk a little bit about how FormStack does it. We've kind of been through a string of acquisitions recently and have had to really think about differently about how we compete and who we compete against. So I was going to kind of talk about that kind of process of how we define our competitors and how we prepare our sales teams specifically. So why do we care about competitors? A lot of times there's other companies who just focus strictly on themselves and say, we're going to do what we're going to do. We're not going to let anyone influence us. But competition isn't necessarily about trying to be someone. We don't want to be keeping up with the Joneses. We don't track competitors to try to do the same thing as them. A lot of times with competitors, it's all about learning about what customers expect and what they want from us. Because if they're going to competitors, they're not coming to you, and that means you're not fulfilling a need. And that need might be something that you want to do. It might be something you don't ever have or are never going to put on your roadmap. But understanding what competitors are helping other customers do can help you figure out whether or not you're going to play against them in the market. So, FormStack, if you don't know, it is a form building product. It was founded back in 2006 as a basic drag and drop form builder that allows you to collect data, any type of data from anyone, and spin out quick things really easily. We've kind of been going through a platform evolution. We got acquired back in 2018 and have gone through a string of acquisitions that have really shaped us into a new market. So back in March of 2018, we acquired a company called QuickTap Survey, which is a mobile one-to-one survey tool that you might find like at an airport where you press a button on it and things like that. Bedrock Data was acquired in December of 2018. That is a data synchronization tool that allows you to sync data between databases like HubSpot, NetSuite, and Salesforce. So all your data is always at the same. Wherever you write it, it always changes. In April of this year, we acquired WebMerge, which is a document automation software that lets you create customized PDFs, Excel sheets from all kinds of data sources. Then our final acquisition was InsureSign back in July, typical e-signature provider that focused a lot on the insurance industry when it first got its start. So all of these new products have allowed us to become more of a, rather than just a forms products, we become more of a platform for workflow productivity, which is a lot different than what we had been talking about as a company before March of 2018. So from a competitive landscape, we used to traditionally focus on other types of form builders, Jotform, Typeform, FormAssembly, all those regular different competitors you probably know about. When we run a QuickTap Survey, we kind of got into the survey market. As we brought in Bedrock, we brought in other kind of databases as sort of kind of competitors. Then we brought in document automation, so Conga, PandaDoc. Then we brought in signatures, so Sign Now, DocuSign. So all of these now have some sort of stake in our product. And as we have built our platform, all of our products are individual products. They're standalone, you can buy them by themselves. So we kind of have been able to compete individually in all these, but then we have a platform play that we also have to compete against different people as well. So it gets really confusing on how we do it and how do we focus on and who do we focus on. So we've really defined kind of a new structure for us. So how do you prioritize competitors? And so there are a lot of different ways you can do this, but one is starting to look at the different types of competitors. And this is very much your business course in marketing, but just a good refresher. Your direct competitors, people who do the exact same thing, basically the exact same way. So Hulu, Netflix. For the most of this presentation, we're going to be focusing on direct competitors because those are your biggest threats at the moment. Those are the people who can steal you away because they're doing the exact same thing. Your customers probably want similar types of products. Indirect competitors are usually sometimes aren't even other products. There's sometimes different processes. If you think about jobs to be done, for example, one of our indirect competitors is paper forms. Just a simple piece of paper. People can not spend their money on us, and they can just go print something out on their computer and put it out on their desk, and that's how they're doing forms. So indirect competitors have the same end goal, but do it in different ways. McDonald's, Pizza Hut, both are trying to do fast food. One does it with pizzas, one does it with burgers. And then your replacement competitors are more industry disruptors and people coming in and doing something completely different, and you probably don't see them. You probably don't focus a lot on them because you normally don't see them coming, but it's something just to keep an eye on. So if you think about Kodak and the iPhone, the digital camera industry was completely disrupted whenever the iPhone came in and basically did the exact same thing and more. So we're going to be focusing a lot on direct competitors, and Formstack, we do a lot of direct competitor focus as well. So we kind of run our competitors through these three types of checks here on how we define them. So who does the market say you compete against? Who do your competitors say you compete against? And who do your customers say you compete against? So the first one, who does the market say you compete against? This is mostly third-party companies who don't have anything necessarily to do with you, and who are they saying you are naturally competing against? So a lot of times these can be review sites like G2, Trustpilot, Capterra. For example, all of these, if you go to Formstack's G2 site, this is what they say who we compete against. They give us comparisons for all these other people. So obviously, they're sourcing this competitor list for us because this is what people are coming to them for. If you have a relationship with a Forrester or a Gartner and see their Magic Quadrants, who else is on there? Go to the App Store, see who you're naturally coming up against. Those are the people who the market's saying that other people are looking for. So that's a good indicator of when people are going to check on your competitors, they're going to go find these other people. What do your competitors say? If your competitors are trying to compete against you, they obviously think they have something over you. They think they were filling a need that you aren't, and they can pull share away from you. And how dare they? So an easy way to do this is just type in your name in alternatives and find out who's running paid ads against you. If they're running paid against you, they obviously they're putting dollars behind it, so they're making a big bet that they are going to pull a share away from you. So easy way to do that. And then the last one, and who do your customers say? So talk to your sales team. They are the ones who are on the phones with people. They're here who's naturally coming up in conversation over and over again. Look into your website's SEO. Figure out what your top performing pages are. If you have alternative pages on your site, see which ones are the best performing. See if you're running competitive paid ads yourself, look into the efficiencies of those. So you can kind of see if you type in competitor name alternative and your ad's popping up and people are clicking on it, you see some synergy there where you might be filling a need that someone else isn't looking at. We're looking at the intersection of all of those, and that's where you should start. Those are where you should make your initial list of competitors that you want to focus on. So where the market says who you're competing against, where your competitors say, and who your customers say. If you think back to that slide I just had, this one, you can see this is Cognito Forms and Fast Field Forms. They weren't on my list of competitors. We don't usually find them as we run up against them. Our sales team doesn't say we hit them, and the market doesn't say we hit them, so we don't focus on them. They can run paid ads against us all day long, but we're not going to take our time to go after them because we feel we have bigger fish to fry. So first step is just trying to define 3 to 5 competitors who you're going to focus on first. If you don't have a list, if you're trying to start something brand new, start small, really focused and specific to who you're going to go against. So where do you start to actually do the research? So you started to define, now that you have these 3 to 5 lists, how do we know what we compete on? So usually competitor research will turn into something like this. It's usually this is what it is. Everyone knows it. So usually you put on the side, here are my settings, here are my features, here are the type of who I integrate with, what fields I have available. Here's what competitor 1 does. Here's what competitor 2 does. These little X's, yada, yada, yada. And that's usually where it stops. This is great for something to do later, but from a beginning perspective, don't start with this because you'll just go down a rabbit hole and then all these different features, and then you can never keep it updated. You will never be able to keep it updated for eternity. So just don't do it, because then you don't have to worry about keeping it updated. So how we want to compete, and how at Formstack we think about competing, is competing through messaging. So we do what we call messaging teardowns of our competitors. So we will look at what they say they do well, who they're trying to tell that to, and then have either of those changed over time. So what they say to do well is kind of what key value are they trying to drive on their website, through their customer stories, things like that. What are they trying to get to, and who are they trying to tell? If this is a specific industry, is this general, everything like that. And then have either of those changed. That really tells you where they're going as a company. An easy way to do that is, or not, it's not easy, but if you go to like a website time machine and you can look back at multiple iterations of their homepages and different messaging, go back a couple years and just see what their tagline is of their homepage. That'll tell you a lot about where things are going. So when you're trying to do this messaging research, a couple places to go would be just going to their website and their blog, reading through what's on there, what's their taglines. They have specific solution pages or industry pages or role pages. What are they focusing on? Read their blog, scroll through their blog all the way down to the bottom, see where they started out at, then go to the top one, figure out what their most recent post was. Product review sites are really, really good at identifying strengths and weaknesses. So going there to those ones I listed, G2, Capterra, TrustRadius, figuring out what people like about their product, what people don't like about their product. Free trials of competitor products. If someone has something you can get into, if they have demo videos, you go on YouTube, look them up, see if you can see inside their product and what they're trying to showcase. And then competitive feature sets are necessary. I told you they weren't, but I kind of lied. So they're necessary in a sense of grouping those feature sets into categories. So you don't want to go, for example, Formstack. We don't want to go and say they have a signature field, they have a radio button field, but we might say like they have a good integration sets around payments or integration sets around databases. So we can kind of group those together, kind of figure out where their synergies are. After we've done that messaging, we want to turn those into positioning statements. And this is your deliverable at the end of the day for your competitive research. This is Jeffrey Moore's positioning structure, which we use at Formstack. And I highlighted the different areas that you want to do for your different competitors. This makes it actionable, and these are the things you can circulate throughout your entire company so they know. And you can segment till the cows come home by your target customer. You can go your specific competitor, and you can say for healthcare customers, we beat them here. For education customers, we beat them here. For SMBs, we beat them here. So you can do all these different types of segmentation for just one specific customer. So how this kind of works is, if you've never seen Jeffrey Moore's framework before, so for target customers who you're trying to speak to, that shouldn't be like for us, like type form customers. That shouldn't be, you should make it a little more specific to that. Don't go just say your competitor's name. Who, statement of need, what you're trying to bring to them, what does your product bring? Your product name is whatever category you want to compete in. For us, it's usually form builders, but now that we have document generations, we have signatures, those types of things. And then your statement of key benefit. So unlike your competitor, what is your differentiation point? And the differentiation point is what you just got from that messaging teardown. That's where that goes. So an example for Formstack, we would say for education customers who need to spin up student surveys fast, the Formstack is a form builder that is, sorry, I'm doing this on the fly, that gives you easy to use tools to build forms. Unlike Typeform, our product allows you to connect systems, databases, and students across your organization. I didn't list features there, I didn't list things like that, but I listed those messaging things that we have that the competitor Typeform doesn't. Quick ethics quiz when you're doing your research. Never lie. It's basically an easy one, but just because they don't have it on their site doesn't mean they don't have it. So if you see something, do a little research, to the point where you feel you exhausted your options a little bit to figure out if they have something or if they're saying something. We've had competitors come up to us around things that have come up about HIPAA compliance, whether we have it or we don't have it. And we had people say, hey, this competitor just told me you didn't have this. And we're like, yeah, we do. They lied to you. And they're like, oh, cool, I'm not going to deal with them anymore. So if you get caught in a lie, it can help out your competitor. Never imply you're going to make a purchase. If you do a free trial of something, don't get a sales rep on the phone and say, hey, what's your pricing? Because I might be interested. That can put things on their forecast. And they can forecast those dollars, and then it messes up their projections for the month, and it can hurt them. So don't imply you're going to make a purchase. And don't buy competitive lists. I'm sure everyone gets those, that we have all these competitors. You don't know where that list was sourced. Now with GDPR and now with California rolling out all these big security things, you don't want to get trapped and someone saying, hey, how did you get my email? And it becomes a big thing. So quick little thing there. So after we've done those positioning statements, we want to prepare our sales teams. We focus a lot on competitive in a sales perspective because we do a lot of inbound. We have a lot of free trial options, so that's where we focus a lot of our time for competitive research. You can also share those through marketing and prepare your marketing teams, but I'm just going to talk about sales team right now. So creating battle cards. Everyone loves battle cards. Use the positioning statements you have to create these. So we kind of put basically 3 things on ours. No and no-go areas. Those are basically the strengths and weaknesses of your competitors. Go areas are areas they're weak. No-go areas might be a place that you have a product gap that they might be filling. Trap questions are questions that of a feature that you know, or a type of features that you know that a competitor doesn't have, that you can ask your customer if they're interested. Like, hey, are you looking for a payment integration? If you know your competitor doesn't have one, that's a great question for your sales team to ask. If they say yes, you're like, oh, you can't even deal with them. They don't have that. Objection handling are things that you're going to hear from those competitors. Those are probably around pricing, around feature sets, things like that. But how are they going to handle that and spin that to help you win that deal? This is an example of how our battle card form stack looks like. We have those no and no-go areas up here. So, go areas are for non-sales team, price-sensitive customers. No-go areas are contract management use cases. We have their strengths and weaknesses listed out, and then those opportunities are what we are call them opportunities, but those are trap questions, questions that we know that if they say yes to those, we're likely to win the deal. So take these and roll them out to your teams. The first thing is go where your sales team is working. That's the biggest takeaway from this. We've tried to roll out different things multiple times, and if you try to roll out a new system or put it somewhere else, put it in if you try to have an internal wiki, they're not going to go there because they are creatures of habit, and they're only going to work where they're going to work, and they're not going to listen to you. So go, if your sales team's in Gmail, if they're in Salesforce, wherever they are, try to figure out how you can get your information there so they don't have to go to a separate system. Create a pilot program to get quick feedback, figure out a couple sales teams or one specific sales team to roll it out to them, iterate with them, figure out what's working, what's not. Make training small and interactive. So if you have a sales team with hundreds of people, try to get those down to smaller groups that all have similar needs. So if it's an outbound group or an inbound group or an expansion group, however you want to break those up, just so they all see the benefits of it together. And then measure a sales readiness score. This is something we implement at FormStack, where after we do a training or something, we'll send them a quiz afterwards. That's just like a quick 3 questions. Hey, do you know where to get this? And ask them hey, what's a key or no-go area for this type of competitor? And then we just quick 1 through 10, how ready are you for this? And that way we can see how prepared they are for it. If it's a really low score, we'll roll it back, do another training, figure out what's going on. But it just helps us to know that what we're doing is working. And the last thing is tracking your success. So you've done all this work, you've rolled it out, but you can't just let it sit there. It's got to continue to be iterated on and continue to move. So develop a win-loss program around compete. Don't necessarily have a win-loss program. It's not that hard to do. It seems a little difficult, but win-loss is all about tracking when you're winning opportunities and when you're losing opportunities. So we do this through Salesforce. So on our opportunity, we have some fields on here that we make our sales team. If they're going up against a competitor, put whatever competitor on the opportunity, and then we'll go back and run reports every month that show us what competitors we won against, what competitors we lost against. You can do this a variety of ways. You can say specific competitors Another thing that I've seen a lot of other people do is defining if you're going head-to-head against a competitor, meaning your customer is considering you versus another competitor, or if you're going as a replacement. So they already are on a competitor and they're looking to come to you. Those are two other, that's another category that's really impactful. That can show you whether or not you're winning when you're going together, or if you're just replacing a lot of people. And then you use that information and drill down into those. If you have a big winning, a large percent of replacement competitors, you can bring that to your marketing team and have them spend up more money towards ads on those. And if you're losing a lot, you can do more sales enablement, more training around those types of things. Also, close loss notes that help you identify if it's a product gap. Is it pricing? Is it you're just not talking to the right people? Did they just go dark? You shouldn't consider those losses necessarily. But that's something you can do to make sure that you're actually hitting everything. So just some final thoughts. Start small and gain confidence. There's a quote, Rome wasn't built in a day, but they were laying bricks every hour. It's better to do something than to do nothing. So keep moving, keep working. Number 2, accept that you're not always the best product. It's really hard to be humble, but understand while you're doing this and keep it in frame of mind that you can't win every opportunity. And sometimes there are use cases that you're not necessarily going to work towards. And that's kind of sometimes hard for sales to admit, but getting them the information so they know those no and no-go areas is important. And lastly, share your success with others. Everyone here is a really smart, brilliant person. You have a lot to offer. So make sure when you're rolling this out that you show people what you're doing, because that's how you get buy-in across your organization so people can see how what you're doing is making an impact on everyone. So thank you very much. There's some time for questions. Appreciate it. Any questions?
Hi. So I focus a lot on competitive intelligence at my organization. We consider one of our biggest competitors status quo. I was just wondering if you do and how you go about that.
Yeah, that's something we focus a lot on as well. One of the things, internal processes are a big thing against us. People just don't want to change. So that's where we focus a lot on. Usually when we're usually competing against a specific person. That's a lot of people come to us looking because they're trying to break the status quo. So figuring out what that status quo is and how things are changing. We do a lot more content on that type of thing and how the key benefits of our product, and do a lot more statistics with status quo to try to get people off of that.
Yeah. Hi there. Question on the sales readiness scores. Mm-hmm. What's the participation like? Do you have sales leadership bought in? You know, how our sales are filling out the survey? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So we primarily do that for our releases, but we do this for any other trainings we do. So we will get everyone in a room. We'll do the training. After the training, we have a director of sales training who's responsible for sending it out. We create it ourselves, send it out, and usually they have within 24 hours that training goes out, and usually within give them about 4 to 5 days to complete it, and we'll go back and say, hey, what's the percentage of people who complete it? We have about 60 sales reps, so we try to get everyone to fill it out, but we try to at least get 40 people to fill it out, about 2/3, and then we base that or kind of roll out off of that score. So there's a lot of things that sales where you don't want to let us have trainings at the end of the month because they have quotas to hit. So we kind of do it on a rolling basis whenever things go out and try to give them 4 to 5 days to fill it out.
How often are you updating the battle cards? And in the event that there's some big competitive thing that happens in between, how are you communicating those changes or those updates to your sales team? Any best practices there would be great.
Yeah. So we do a quarterly competitive landscape report. So every quarter we will go through and kind of report out to the company what our win-loss rates are across our competitors. And that's usually when we start to reevaluate who we're going to start competing against in the next quarter. So if we see a big shift in competitor win-loss rate or something like that, we'll go afterwards. As things come out, that's usually things that are kind of sprung on by sales teams, and everyone's big fire drill all of a sudden because someone changed their pricing. All of a sudden, we're losing pricing. So usually we will meet as a team. We have on our regular team cadence. And we'll just evaluate those. For how FormStack works is we work as product line managers, so we are kind of general managers ourselves. So if something changes, someone will come directly to us, and we'll make the changes in the battle cards, and then we will usually send out an email. We use Soapbox, which is the Wistia product, to create a quick video, send it out to everyone, and then usually we'll send some kind of sales readiness quiz afterwards to make sure people are watching it.
In your positioning, you talk about your direct competitors. So we do this, they don't do this. Here's our differentiation. Do you actually market that to your prospects or customer base?
We have alternative pages on our website. And so we usually do that through a lot of PPC, but we have pages on our website that basically say, this is what they do, this is what we do. We do it in messaging. So if someone's coming to that type of page, we say, hey, we're better for payment processors, or we're better for internal workflows and things like that. So we put it right on our website. It's not something we put up at the top of our website, but it's on the back end, so people could find it through SEO or we can drive PPC to it. And then our sales team also have that collateral, send out links to people as well.
Yeah, I'm curious if you've ever received feedback on that, and this is almost more of a topic for discussion, and love to talk to people about this, is have you ever done any testing on whether or not it bodes better to actually call out your competitors directly or indirectly, insinuate that you might be better because of X, Y, Z?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't say we've ever done testing on it. It's just something that's always kind of been more as a sales collateral piece for them to pull out if they need to. We don't necessarily put those up on top level pages or anything like that, but great question.
Anyone else?
Amen.
Nope. All right. Great.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Clint.